Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So let me introduce myself. My name is Alya Nanda Muthia. I'm a third semester student from English Education Department. First of all, let's express our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the most merciful and compassionate. Secondly, salawat and salam always be delivered to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who brought us from the darkness to the brightness. The honorable person, our lecturer, Mr. Dr. Kaharuddin S.IP M.Hum, as a lecturer on morphology and syntax course. So today I would like to talk about inflection. So basically, inflection is a form of a new word to fulfill grammatical aspect. So inflection is generally suffixes. If a suffix attached to a free morpheme, the new words will show the grammatical function. So according to Shamsan M.A.S.A. and At-Tayyib A.M. 2015, inflection can be divided into three types. The first type is inflection of nouns. Inflection of nouns such as inflection of nouns to show plural, for example, cat become cats, and then inflection of nouns to indicate possessive nouns, for example, Jacks, Sophias, Tonys, or etc. And then the second type is inflection of adjective. Inflection of adjective can indicate first is adjective comparative, for example, by adding suffix er to the end of the root word, for example, higher, lower, and etc. And then inflection for superlative adjective by adding est in the end of a root word, for example, highest, lowest, and etc. And the third type is inflection of verbs. So inflection of verbs can indicate four inflection. First is inflection of verb for third person singular by adding s, suffix s, for example, place. And then the second is inflection verb to indicate present participle or gerund by adding ing, suffix ing, for example, playing. And then to indicate past simple tense by adding ed, suffix ed, for example, played. And then to indicate past perfect tense by adding suffix en at the end, for example, taken. Yes, it can. So noun can take place in inflection to indicate two things. First is to indicate plural nouns. So plural nouns or pluralization is the act to change singular noun to become a plural noun. For example, the word cat attached with suffix s, so it becomes cats. It shows more than one cat. And then the second is to indicate possessive or possessive case of nouns. So is the expression of ownership. For example, attached someone's name, for example, like Tony, with apostrophe and suffix s, so it becomes Tony's. Tony's house, Tony's car. It means that Tony's own something. So after I analyze the following extract above, I can conclude that these extracts have four pluralization of regular nouns. First is countries. Countries is made by attached word country and suffix s, so it becomes countries. It means that more than one country. Second is students. So students made by attached the word student and suffix s. So it becomes students. It means more than one student. And then the third is teachers. Teachers made by attached the word teacher and suffix s. So it becomes teachers and it indicates more than one teacher. And then the last is speakers. Speakers is attached, but speakers is made by attached the word speaker and attached it with suffix s. So it becomes speakers. It means that more than one speaker. No, they're not the same. The rules of regular pluralization are usually consistent and predictable, which is done by adding suffix as or es at the end. For example, the word paper become papers and bus become buses. The rules of irregular pluralization is done not just by adding suffix s or es, but it have plural patterns of nouns. So plural patterns of nouns are usually borrowed from Latin or Greek plural patterns. For example, make a singular noun ends with us plural by delete the us part and add suffix I. For example, alumnus become alumni, cactus become cacti, and etc. So there are 8 rules of irregular pluralization. First is making singular noun end in a us singular by deleting us and add suffix I. For example, alumnus become alumni. Second is making a singular noun end in is plural by deleting is and add suffix es. For example, diagnosis become diagnosis. The third rule is making singular nouns end with on plural by deleting the on and add suffix a. For example, phenomenon become phenomena. And then making the singular noun and in plural by deleting the and add suffix a. For example, datum become data. And then making a singular noun and with e or ix plural by adding by deleting e or ix and add suffix ices. For example, index become indices. And then making singular nouns and in plural by adding suffix e. For example, formula become formulae. And then making singular nouns and with plural by adding suffix ta. For example, dogma become dogmata. And then the last rules is making singular noun and in ouse plural by deleting the use and then add suffix ice. For example, mouse become mice. So possessive nouns are formed to show the expression of ownership. Possessive nouns also have patterns that are commonly used in English. So a noun in possessive noun function as an adjective. After going through the inflection process or attach apostrophe and suffix s to the end of the noun. The addition then contain information about the noun, the ownership information about the noun. For example, attached noun armor with a proper name or someone's name, like for example Tony. Tony then added with apostrophe and s, and it become Tony's armor. So there are 5 rules of possessive case of nouns. First is making possessive case of singular nouns. For most singular nouns which do not end by an s, we can just add apostrophe and suffix s at the end of the noun. For example, cat's toys, rabbit's cage, and etc. So the second rule is making possessive case of plural nouns. So in plural nouns, we don't need to add suffix s because plural nouns already end in s. So all we need to do to make it possessive is just add an apostrophe at the end of the word. For example, room's wall, parents' room, and etc. The third is making possessive case of compound nouns. To make possessive case of compound nouns, we can just add an apostrophe and suffix s at the end of the noun, or we can just add an apostrophe in at the end if the compound nouns end with an s. For example, my mother-in-law's recipe. The fourth is making possessive case of multiple nouns with sharing ownership. So to make a possessive case of this, we can just add a possessive marker to the end of the noun. If the noun doesn't end with an s, we can add apostrophe and suffix s at the end. But if they do not end with if they end with s, we can just add apostrophe at the end. For example, Tony and Steve's room, Tony and Steve's car, and etc. And the last rule is making possessive case of multiple nouns with separate ownership. So the rule that are commonly used in this noun is adding of each noun's apostrophe and suffix s. For example, Tony's and Steve's rooms, and etc. Okay, I think that's all from me. I sincerely appreciate all of your attention, and if there are any mistakes, I apologize previously. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.